There we go. Everybody, welcome back to the Attitude for Gratitude weekly podcast. What a shit show. Sorry, everybody. Yes, we're good to go. So, everybody, I want to thank you for your patience. I'm getting real sick of saying this to all you guys. As faithful listeners, it's not fair. I'm trying to figure this out and I'm solo and I did figure it out, which is a good thing. So what I'm gonna do is get the picture back on and then I'm gonna get this going too. So I appreciate everybody and your patience. I'm just trying to also figure out how to get the picture right and blah blah blah. So here's what we're gonna do. Boom. Cut it. I'll be back. Here we go. Come on. Come on. Just the video portion. There we go. Just the video portion. Attitude for gratitude. Alright. And then do like this. Select layout. Blah, blah, blah. What I want to do is say sorry to everybody for what has been occurring as it's, you know what? I'm learning as I go. It's that easy. And I appreciate everyone's patience. I can tell nobody's online right now, nobody's hearing this, and once you come on, we'll start getting it going. But what I want to do is thank everybody, talk to everybody about this podcast and what it is, what it means to me, why we've been going on with it, regardless of the ups and the downs and the struggles that we've had. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. So this is what we do: is come in here and talk about recovery. We come in here and we share experience, strengths, and hopes. This is a place where recovery's at. 2218. This is what I do to get my recovery. I get involved here. Um, it's something that I need for my recovery, and that's exactly what I'm going to keep doing. So I feel like I'm babbling on, and I am. So I've seen that a total of 7 different people came on and hopped out because they're probably sick of the crap that I'm having to figure out on here. But what the Alano Society of Minneapolis states is it's a vision to be the premier Alano clubhouse serving the community by offering support, strength, and hope to those seeking recovery and their families. I have it scrolling across the bottom of the screen because I'm playing with every possible button that could be hit on this program, and I'm figuring things out as we're going. This, I think, is why we do production meetings and get things figured out. But for like 75 weeks, I was patted on the back saying, Tim, you're just the talent. So deal with being the talent. Um, I also noticed like I made it for 7 different streams. So I can't tell. It sucks because when we say we're an interactive show, it's hard for me to be interactive with the audience, especially when I'm only on one of the 7 different streams. So right now, unless I switch over or open up dual windows, which the audience does not want me doing, because it will be more of a crud show than it is right now if I try to navigate through multiple screens. But in the future, I've got an engineer I'm meeting with on Wednesday about all this stuff. It's the old engineer. He's a member of this club, and he's gonna kind of solidify everything to help figure it all out. The stuff that I haven't been able to figure out on my own. So I again appreciate everyone's patience. This isn't going to be a long show tonight. It's going to be a lot of information about the club and what 2218 means to me. Campaign is going on right now. So from the desk volunteers, I want to read something that says that we are starting campaigns for members and those attending meetings at 2218 to let us know what 2218 as a building hosting meetings and or as a Alano Club means to them. So we please encourage people to fill out what is included in what 2218 means to me. There's forms down at the front desk. If you are a member of this club, grab one of those forms. Let us know what this means to you. For right now, it says contact Matt T with any questions or concerns. Anyone at the front desk can give you a hand with that type of stuff. Um, there's just tons of different things going on here. 2218 Society Minneapolis donations are needed. I'm going to read the. I just grabbed a bunch of the information from the front desk. So donations, what they do for this club, because every week we talk about this, and I'm always pushing that scenario of donating money and it goes to a good cause. Well, now I have something to kind of expand that statement, I guess is one way of saying it. So donations do go towards keeping the lights on and the doors open. The Alano Society survives entirely on donations and volunteers. That's another reason why you'll always hear me pumping up the volunteer aspect of this club. This club's been going for 80 years because of volunteers. It's been going for 80 years because of donations and membership, fees and dues. Like, that's how this place survived. And that's how it's going to stay surviving unless we come up with some other means of income. But being that it is an Alamo club, it's not as though we can run it like a store or something like that. There are times, like with the 2218 Ride for Recovery merchandise, that does bring in some funds for the club, and that everything does go to the club. So any dollar that gets brought in. I know the podcast had like $1,000 donation in its first few weeks of the show, and that was huge for the club. Every dollar, it's huge for this club. So the passage of time has taken a toll on our vulnerable club, but we are determined, with the help of donors and state historical grants, to restore the glory of the legacy of our club for generations to come. Every dollar given to this club will go to the wholesale restoration of this club and for the recovery. Guided by the principles of AA and emboldened by the generosity of our donations, together we will trudge the happiness and the road of destiny which beckons on us and on. You know what? I'm trying to read this. I didn't proofread none of this, so you're hearing my illiteracy at its finest right now. There's multiple ways of being able to donate. I'm not sure, but eventually I think after I meet with Eric, he's going to show me how I can post some of that stuff on here, little QR codes or however the world works with donations nowadays. So what I wanted to talk about is there's multiple things. Like, we have this show, we got Rick and Jesse who come on once a month, and they're running through the steps. I think the next time they're here, we're going to be doing step 8, which is made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. And we're just seeing from their side of the street what that means to them. We always remember when we're doing these steps, like we get a sponsor to work through these steps with someone who's been through them prior to us. Like, someone worded it to me once before, is a sponsor is someone who's been there before. You can't go through these steps with someone who hasn't. It's like drawing a roadmap to somewhere you haven't been yet. So I wanted, in early recovery, I was super gung-ho about this stuff, and I wanted to sponsor people. And my sponsor put me in my seat and was like, listen, you can't do this until you've been through this. So that's something that's it's a big deal to me and my recovery to do it the right way. Like, what I've been able to get out of my recovery and the second chance at life is exactly that, a second chance at life. And I just don't want to falter along the way with that. So that's exactly what I did. And with that said, it's one of these situations that the more the merrier. And the way this all started from like back in the 30s with the Oxford group. Bill and Bob ended up taking their 6 steps and coming up with our 12 steps, and it's in black and white, but it also can be interpreted in so many ways. Like, I've said this in early recovery, and I still feel the same way. Like, if you get 20 different pastors reading the same verse, you're going to get 20 different descriptions of what they think that means. So you'll know, like, keep coming back type of situation, you'll get it. You'll understand what sounds right, who's happy doing this recovery thing. That's who I kind of get behind when it comes to recovery. I We've had Bob on the show quite a bit. Matter of fact, tonight, once a month, he does a campfire meeting, and that is tonight. He's having his campfire meeting, and there's usually 75 to 150 people that show up to that meeting. But he's one of them guys in early recovery I grabbed onto and just like held on tight. He's my predecessor. He's someone that I saw prior to knowing him or getting to know him. I saw that little spark. Or you hear people talk about that glow inside of people, or the way they talk about recovery, things of that nature. Like I saw that in Bob, so I grabbed onto him. Like I held on tight and listened to what he had to say. Um, I also was in a men's meeting with him where multiple people shared about the same. Let's just use steps for this conversation. It's like I'm in a room full of 30 different men talking about, we'll just use step 8, like made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Like there's ways of going about that. And like I said, I chose to kind of hang on to Bob's coattails, and I did not have him as my sponsor, but he's a mentor to me, and like I can bounce any of those type of questions off him. And I have a specific relationship with my sponsor who, for the first 12 steps, like I met with him once a week, every Wednesday for an hour, and we went through this stuff. And this was early recovery for me. That's what it looked like, is meetings every other day of the week, and on Wednesdays was meetings with him, followed up going to our men or going to Squad 11 at New Hope Alano. It's just the part of recovery that it's like near and dear to my heart, we'll say. But it is what makes my recovery, is being able to have the different variety of fellow addicts or alcoholics, or sex addicts or meth addicts, or call it what you will, people who are trying to get a better grip on this new life, this new lease on life, call it what you will. It's what saved my life. I've said it before. It's like I kind of get emotional when I talk about it, but like this program, I do understand, and I tell anyone who wants to hear it, is like, you have to have your own experience with this program. As long as you come into it open and willing and being honest with yourself. Of course, when I came in here naive as shit, like I was thinking someone was gonna have an answer for me that could just say, Tim, jump twice, turn around, tap your head, and you're cured. That's not how it went. I was looking for shit. I came off a needle for 8 years and bottles of booze. That was an instant quick fix. So my life turned into an instant quick fix. It was never a fix though. It was just an instant gratification of whatever it was. It's like for me shopping. Like I still do that dumb shit. I'll go shopping and spend hundreds of dollars that I know I shouldn't be spending, but it makes me feel good in that moment. What I'm getting at is, when it comes to recovery, there's work that had to be put in. And I was seeing that, but I did come in here naive as hell, thinking that there was going to be some quick fix answer, and there wasn't. It was not that. It was these old timers telling me, shut up. And that like busted down my ego, because I still hear it a lot from these old timers, because like they keep staying old timers and I'm just getting more time. But these are the men that surrounded me, or I surrounded them around me going through this stuff. And it's like, the longer I just stuck with, I say these things like Paul B from Low Work always be like, there's these little sayings that used to get under my skin, but they're true. It's like, keep coming back. That's all I needed to do at the beginning, was just keep showing up. And that's what I would do, is just keep showing up, and I would have to put the work in. And this program, like in lieu of that, like changing my life and doing all these better things for myself, it gave my parents, it gave them their son back. Like I said, for so many years, I was just doing wrong. I chose to do that though. I was raised right from wrong. I knew better than to sit and, go meet the dope man and push off holidays to go hook up with the dope man and get my own high on. Like that next one. That's what was important to me, is getting that next one. I look back on it now, and I remember like there was a Christmas morning, like the whole family's there, and I told some lie, like nothing's open on Christmas. And I was like, oh, I gotta go run over here. And they're like, what are you talking about? That's closed. I was like, oh, then the other place. I would say whatever I had to say to go get that next one because that was more important to me than anything in the world. And I mean, relationships with women, friendship, a relationship with my family, a relationship with myself. Just came from a meeting, listened to a guy said, like, I walked into these rooms and the first thing I did was I met someone very important. And then he kind of paused and he's like, it was me. I got to meet who I am. And after multiple years of use, I lost myself. Like I completely lost who I was and didn't know who I was. I ended up making the drug my higher power for so long that I didn't know who I was when I came to these rooms. It was sad, but then again, like I made it here. Like I'm able to look at other people walking in these rooms now, and I'm just like, thank God you made it. Hopefully you want it. Like I can only relate it to my experience, and it's like I say it all the time. Like hopefully you want it the way I wanted it, because like there's nothing, no higher power topic, no having to do step work. There's nothing that's gonna get in the way of me trying to stay happy, joyous, and free. Because once I got a taste of that, it was done with. You're not going to catch me not showing back up. Um, there was parts of my life that I didn't even know about. All I knew, I got out of high school, I started working and just goofing off, like, and that just turned in, like, the party turned into a lifelong party, that turned into misery, that turned into I had to go to a treatment center. Like they talk about jails, institutions, and death. Well, people are forgetting that institutions, that is a treatment center. Like this book doesn't lie. I ended up in a treatment center, and that it was the beginning of the start of the rest of my life. For me, it's because that's what I wanted. I wanted to have a life. I wanted to get back into society. I wanted to be a son to my parents that they could trust, that they could depend on, and that I could do some shit for them that they didn't have to ask me to do. I could try to show up and be a man to a woman, or to be a good partner in a relationship, whether it is a physical relationship or with a friend. Me and Tad talked about it all the time. Like, I don't know what a friend looks like today. Or no, let me rephrase that. I know what a friend looks like more today than I did coming into these rooms. Because for me, making the drug or the use my higher power for so long, I just forgot. It's like shooting. I don't want to use like shooting a gun, but it's like making you. It's something that I lost. I lost that ability to show up. I lost that ability to stay present or in the moment. I became so selfish and self-centered and self-seeking, and it's crazy because I'm talking about these things that this book, that this whole. Here's a side note too: is I used to look at people like me, people that come to these rooms. I don't know if it was like I looked at them as a quitter because I had no clue what this whole program did for people. I really didn't. I knew of AA. I would be lying if I said I never heard of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. But it was something we poked fun at. It was something that we called you people quitters. Me growing up with nobody in recovery in my life, I knew nothing about it. It's that easy. I knew nothing about recovery while growing up. I heard of Alcoholics Anonymous from whatever movies or whatever, and I used to make fun of these people. But it got to a point where I didn't know how to stop. Once it got to that point, I didn't know what to do. And I've shared on the show more than once. It's like I googled it. I didn't know what to do, so I googled how to stop using drugs, how to get off heroin. I really, honestly, I googled for a few months like how to get through withdrawals because that was my biggest thing with opiates and alcohol, like the DTs, delirium tremens or whatever it's called. Everyone out there has heard DTs, but them DTs or withdrawals off of opiates, like the withdrawals kept me going for years. That fear of going through those withdrawals or that misery of withdrawals kept me going for years, and I didn't know how to stop. I didn't. I was Googling all sorts of stuff on how to get off it or how to wean myself or not have to deal with the DTs or withdrawals. That's what I honestly, looking back, like that's what I was trying to avoid. And I wasn't able to. Like I shared earlier, like looking for that quick fix. I was looking for the quick fix on how to not have to deal with those withdrawals or what have you. And there was no quick fix. Like there was some remedies or this, that, and the third, and I tried them all while I was calling the dope man. I ended up always back at the dope house or the trap house or thieving money or stealing or robbing just to get my fix on. But what I ended up doing at the end of the day was following through with some institutions, which yeah, I've been to jail. Jails, institutions, or death. Been close to death. I haven't died. I'm here talking to you, but I haven't been. I haven't overdosed and came back. Like I don't. My story doesn't go that way. Um, but it would have. If I kept going, I'd have died. Like shared before, I lost my brother to this disease, and it's fucked up. It's what happens. It's just inevitable. It's not like if it's gonna happen. It's when it's gonna happen. Um, Two people in the last week from this program I know has that have passed away. We were at church on Tuesday, and pastor was talking about like he just a guy who had 10 years decided to go back out. Like within a month, he was dead. Like this is the harsh realities of what this disease is. It's cancer. It's a fatality type driven disease, but there is a cure, and it's the cure is you have to put the work in. Like I had to. I don't know. Maybe there is some untold secret of how to keep using successfully and have a happy, joyous life. I never figured it out, and I promise you, I tried. I tried. Oh damn, I did. I tried. Um, but it's like this all stemmed from me talking about getting in these rooms and being surrounded with other fellow alcoholics or addicts, and having the different groups of alcoholics or addicts around me that I could rely on to bounce my life off of. Like this men's meeting I go to on Thursday, we talk about throwing up on each other. Like not in the literal way, but talking about like all of our problems and our worries and our fears. Like we surround ourselves with people that we can now bring that to. I can assure you, me personally, like in my youth, there was no one I could have came to and been like, "Hey, I'm hurting, man. Like I'm sad," or "This happened." It wasn't like that. It was only revolving around the dope. Like even at the bar, none of those guys gave a shit about my life or how it was going. If we talked about it, it was something to just talk about. It wasn't something for any solution. And that's the thing about this whole program. Like the longer I'm sticking around it, and the more I'm putting these specific men in my life and going to these specific meetings, like they're holding me accountable to a better life. Like the shit I'm spewing, it's not shit. That's what's crazy. I hear myself saying these things, and it throws me off because it's stuff I never would imagine would be coming out of my mouth, and it's things that I never imagined my life to would have became. I was sharing with someone not too long ago, like when I was in my teens, I'd think like, what am I going to be like in 20 years? Like, where am I going to be in 20 years? I'm going to be successful. I'm going to have cars and da 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 da. And then in 10 years, like I'd say the same shit. I never would have saw myself in the shoes I'm wearing today. Never. I never would have. I just would have never thought. Like my ego would have never allowed it. And it's something I'm not ashamed of. Like, hey, life turned out the way it did for me. I'm happy today though. Like I'm in a relationship that like I'm proud to be in. This is I'm with this girl who like shot me down in early recovery. I came to her and was like, let me take you, I sung and danced her in early recovery. I'm talking 2-3 months. I was rushing her heart. Like we hung out, we were friends, but like I think she was in a relationship and she was sharing with me how it wasn't going so well. And of course, I was looking at it as an opportunity for me. Like I was still sick. You don't come in these rooms and instantly you're healthy. I came in these rooms, I was still sick, man. I was real sick. That was just the beginning of some remission type cancer stuff. I came in these rooms and I was sick. So like I'm trying to be a friend, but I look back and I probably wasn't an honest friend. I was there for her. Like we would go out, but I would listen to whatever she was going through, and then I would throw it back in her face, like, "Oh, you deserve happiness. Like, let me show you what happiness looks like." It was selfish still. Like it took, and she called me out on it. She's like, "Hell no, we ain't going on no dates. I'm not gonna go date you." Like she shot me down hard, and yeah, it was a blow to my ego, and I played it off like it's no big deal. And she told me like, "You need to figure out who you are." And she I think she said like, "I still need to figure out who I am," and that was it. Like that, I was single, and that went on for over 3 years in recovery. But that's what I did. I focused on who I was, trying to figure out who I was. Like I was sharing, this guy came in that meeting, this Narcotics Anonymous meeting that's at 2218 every day of the week at 6:30, and that was the way he shared, without breaking anonymity. Like he said, "Hi, I'm so and so. I'm an addict. Like I'm grateful for God today. I'm grateful for my recovery today, and I'm grateful that this room introduced me to someone, and that someone was me." Um, so yeah, like I came in these rooms and I started learning who I was. This program taught me not so much who I am, but who I want to be. Like every day I get to wake up with call it a new lease on life, but I have the opportunity and I have the choice to be who I want to be. I have that freedom of not being a slave to some shit anymore, like my heroin or a bottle of booze or some gambling addiction or whatever it is. Like it took me to get a clear head to figure out I can do what I want. Like I can go quit my job tomorrow and go look for a whole new career. No one can stop me. Like I'm in control of my life. When I'm in the midst of some bullshit going on or some arguments or some people that are negative or even if it's family, like it's up to you how happy you want to be. Do you want to sit and keep putting up with the negativity and the bullshit because your society says like, well, they're family, you got to keep them in your life? No, you don't. You don't. Same with friends. You got a friend who all they do is constantly complain. All they do is talk about me, 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 me. Because I'm learning this still today, and then it's a hard lesson to learn because there's friends in my life that I thought were friends, like in this last few years, and you show up for them like it's almost like a intimate relationship, and you get to know who each other are, and then all of a sudden, like you find out like they don't give a shit about you. They're more concerned about them, and that's okay. Like I'm not here to. When I tell someone I love them unconditionally, that means exactly that. Who the hell am I to put a condition on love when I say that? I'm gonna love you, but if you do this, I won't love you no more. I've learned that in these rooms. So what I do is just keep coming back and figuring out how to address life when it's showing up. I didn't know how to address life when it would show up. You know, things would happen and I wouldn't know how to react. Today, my first instinct still isn't the best. Like 80% of the time, what my head tells me to do and to react when it comes time to react or respond, it's usually not a good. My first thought's usually not the right thought, but I get to wait, think about it, and do I want to act like this? Do I want to show up this way? We've recently dealt with some me in the circle of men I'm with and the circle of people I'm in. We just lost two really good people. Carl Gallagher passed away from cancer, and Kevin Ruddy he passed away in a motorcycle accident. Like that all happened in the last month, and that's tough. Like that's life showing up. And neither of those they both graduated from these programs. Like they both got the gold star. We talk about it. Like I came in these rooms thinking that, okay, when do I graduate? When do I get my completion form? Or when am I done with AA? When am I done with NA? And it was a hard pill to swallow. And they're like, never. You don't ever stop. If you want to stay clean, you don't ever stop coming here. You don't ever stop living this program. You don't ever stop going to AA. You don't stop. You don't graduate. You don't get a completion form. You graduate when you die clean. You graduate when you pass on not using anymore. Like that's the graduation ticket. Like both these men died clean. And it's everyone's own choice what they want to do. it was kind of like I said, it was a tough pill to swallow in early recovery, but that's why they say take it one day at a time. I can't think about 20 years from now still having to go to meetings. I don't have to go to meetings. I don't have to go do fellowship, but I know that going to hang out with these like-minded people, my life is better. Like when I have a higher power in my life, like when I have something that I can depend on, my life is better. When I keep learning stuff, which I do on a daily, that I keep showing up. The guy who walks in the room with a day and a half, not out, just fresh off the street, might come in and say some shit that peels your wig back for the next 2 years. You might hear him say something that you're like, it doesn't. Clean time doesn't mean recovery. That I always say these old timers. That's not fair to them. It's me kind of taking a jab at them. There are people that are older than me, been in this program longer. That still doesn't mean they got more knowledge than me or mean they got better shit than me. They've got much more experience than I do. And when you see someone in this program who's happy with more experience than me, I'm going to try to, I usually gravitate to them. And those are the people, those are the men, those are the circle of people that saved my life. So those are things like I share about it because it's what saved my life. It's what gave my brother a brother back, a mother a son back, a friend back. And I am always like pretty bold about those statements when I say it because it's the truth. Like growing up, my mom didn't ask me advice for anything. I didn't have any advice to give, and if I did, it wasn't solid advice. That's like the gifts of recovery for me. Everyone's experience is different. That's why I say go have your own experience. I've heard people share about that, and I've been here for I don't know. I say a long time because it's my new life. I'm coming up to 5, and like this is the only time in my adult life I've been clean. Prior to coming to these rooms, one way or another, every day of my life from about 14 or 15, I was not clean or I wasn't clear. That's the best way to say this. I was not clear, whether it was weed or alcohol or opiates or speed or something was always clouding who I was or who I wanted to be. I didn't know that. For so many years, my head was just cloudy. It wasn't until probably 7, 8 days into detox that I finally was like, for the first time in my adult life, was clear, which is a weird thing to say. And I look back on it. It's one of the first memories I have of my new life was in detox when some meeting was brought in. Every night they bring a meeting in there, and I'd go every night because there's not shit to do with detox. In detox, you're in there to detox. They have a TV screen, but they don't do much. There's no activities. You don't get to go out and smoke or nothing. So of course my jaw was sore as shit from chewing all this Nicorette gum. And then every night a different meeting would be brought in there. And it was I think like the 6th or 7th night I was there. A group of men, like 3 men, and a woman came in there, and they just come into detox and they share each for 5 minutes to maybe 25 minutes about their experience, strength, and hope. And there was a guy in there who, and this is like the first clear memory of my new life that I had was this guy was in there sharing about, I got 4, I got 5, whatever years. It was multiple years of not drinking. His thing was Jack Daniels. He was like, yeah, I drink a 175 of Jack Daniels daily. And that blew my head back. I'd never heard of anyone drinking like that. I've heard of it, but never seen anyone or met anyone who really truly drank like that. And he had no reason coming there live, but he was also saying like, I want to go have a drink. I don't know what's going on in my life, my recovery or what, but I'm scared because I might go to the bar tonight and drink. And he was sharing this with a bunch of people in detox, and it just threw me off. And it's like, that was the first memory that I have from detox and this like new life of mine or whatever. Because sure, I've been in car accidents, I've played football and I smacked my head around quite a bit. I've been in car accidents. Like I've had maybe some head trauma, but I have not many memories. Like I brag about my old man, how he can remember dates. He remembers, that was in June of '88. Things like that. I don't do that. I can't do that. I've never been able to do that. I'm able to now remember things in this past 4 or 5 years, and that's all because of the recovery. It's all because of what I've done in this new life I have. So what I'm gonna do, I'm babbling. This was a dangerous thing for me to do tonight. Was just have a show with no one. No, or both my guests didn't show up tonight, which it happens. Um, I do want to share about a guy named Dan Kay who we'll have on the show eventually. It's tricky because he's moved. He moves around, or he's on the move. He's retired and he got a place up in Brainerd, but he goes to my men's meeting and I just saw him and we sat down and we talked after what we call fellowship, and that's what we did. Was he's telling me though, like this is the type of shit that we get to take joy in, hearing a fellow alcoholic or addict sit and tell us. Is he was up north with his 16-year-old nephew from Oakland who has never been fishing, and he took them out on, I don't know, up in Brainerd, and they went crappie fishing, caught crappies, and they went up to where the Continental Divide is and to the state forest, and they went and picked raspberries, and he was showing the 16-year-old like this stuff that he's never seen in his life. And the kid was like, when can we go catch some tuna? And shit floored me. It was some of the funny shit I heard all week. But that is like the highlight, to be present, to be there for this young man who's like, all he knew was, YouTube and cell phone and video games. And it sounds like maybe the parents don't show him much life experiences. And coming up here, like the first time he's been asked, hey, what do you want to do in your life, was by my friend Dan. And it's things like that. I got to be there as a friend for him, to listen to him tell his story, put a smile on my face, and it's things like that, just in small little things that for me it's all worth it. This thing of recovery is worth it. So I didn't do much promotion at the beginning of the show, and that's just because it was a shit show like normal. But I reached out to someone, and I think I have the exact info that's needed to always make this show run right now. Um, and we were knocking around a name change on the show. Elaine and myself were. We just haven't talked to anyone from the board or anything. Attitude for Gratitude. I don't know if it was trademarked, but I had someone look into it, and from my understanding, is the name has been trademarked, but not the same spelling of what we use. Plus, like, to reformat this with the new equipment we have, and once we learn how to use everything properly, I think that might be coming down the pipeline too. So there's gonna be some changes made, but it's all for the better when it comes to this podcast. It's not going anywhere. We need to get back on top of advertising it and trying to get it out through different venues. We use a StreamYard right now, but everyone's hearing us through Facebook right now, the Attitude for Gratitude Live site on Facebook, but we're linked with YouTube, and I'm not sure, like, StreamYard, if it's, see, this is where 70 weeks of being told you're just a talent, it kind of gets, it cheats me out of the knowledge that I should have had by now, but I'm going to figure it out. I thought StreamYard, like, gives it all these different accesses for other people. But here's the thing, is if we're going to preach that this is an interactive show and we want people to interact, if it's not on the same live stream that we are using or watching, what good is it? It's not interactive then. That's the same with pre-recorded shows that we're going to be able to do now, but then it's not as interactive. Like, if someone is struggling and wants to reach out, like, we'll make sure our number gets put up there, but if they can't, you know what I'm saying? It's not able to be interactive if I'm not able to answer a question or a response to anyone. So those are things that we're trying to work on and get figured out. But at the end of the day, like, just like our recovery, like, we just keep showing up. Don't leave. Just keep coming back. And that's what the goal is at the end of the day. Like, the goal is to do this thing together, get more people involved. I've said it from day one, like, this is not my show at all. This is not my show. This is the Recovery Community's podcast. And I try to get as many people involved as I can. I've been slacking on the scheduling of it ever since the Ride for Recovery. Like, a lot of the aspects of the podcast has kind of been going through changes. Matt's no longer here. Tad's not going to be on for a while. Elena, it's Elena and myself that are doing this. And like I said, I've got an appointment with someone who is a tech wizard. I went and spent all this stupid money on a mixer that I thought would be super cool and fun, but if I don't know how to use it, what's the point? It was just a frivolous dollar amount I spent for basically no reason at this point, because our other mixer would work just fine. With the exception, now we have our headphones. Now I'm blabbing about things that don't matter to you guys. So what I'm gonna do is also let you guys all know that same as before, that I think I have it on the whatever it's called, the ticker on the bottom, is that the Alano vision statement is to be the premier Alano clubhouse, serving the community by offering support, strength, and hope to those seeking recovery and to their families. The core values, principles, and accepted behaviors: recovery, inclusive, wellness, innovation. This is 2218. It's think about this next statement. It's the world's longest running Alano. There's Alanos all over the place. Some cities, they're not called Alanos, they just call them clubhouses. Like when I go to Arkansas, it's an Alano, but it's not called Alano. It's the clubhouse. A lot of cities across the world have places like this, but since Alcoholics Anonymous was formed, this is the longest running Alano club in the world, and it's a special thing. It's a real special thing. So what we're gonna do is, I've been blabbing on for way too long. I had a plan on how I wanted to proceed with whatever I was talking about, but that kind of went right out the window really quickly. So if there's ideas for the show, if you guys want to see this go in a specific direction, any suggestions or advice for the show, if there's anyone that you want to see on the show from the recovery community, reach out and let us know what you want to see, or which way you want to see the show going, and we'll try to implement it. One thing I want to share about, and I just put this out there, the suicide hotline is 988. They switch that. All you have to do is dial 988, and there'll be someone to pick it up 24/7. If you're ever struggling, if you need help, please reach out. You don't have to be alone. I put my number up every week. Elena puts her number up. If we don't answer, which a lot of times we're not going to answer, keep dialing the phone. Keep picking up the phone. Do not let yourself. You don't have to be alone. You're loved. You are loved. I'm gonna go. This might get kind of monotonous, but I'm gonna go through this real quick. It's the Alano Society, Minneapolis, established in 1942. It's 2218 First Avenue South, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55406. Phone number here is 612-871-2218. You can find and donate at 2218alano.org. I'm going to run through the meetings that are held here, and bear with me. Sunday we have an 8:30 Squad 17 leftover. It's a mixed big book in the auditorium. We have a 10 a.m. Squad 61. That's an open mix step. Bear with me because I'm reading as we go. Step, tradition, and it's handicap accessible in the annex. At 11:30 Squad 3. That's open mix step group. It's in the annex temporarily. At 12 noon, we have Jitters. That's a Squad 7 Jitters open mix. It's a topic meeting, and it's handicap accessible. That's in the auditorium. Matter of fact, Jitters is every single day of the year, Monday through Monday, at 12 p.m. in the auditorium. At 6:30, every single night of the week at 6:30 is Squad 42. That's Narcotics Anonymous. It's Phoenix, NA. That's open and mixed. That's in the annex or the auditorium. Every day of the week, there's a 6:30 Narcotics Anonymous meeting going on here at 2218. At 7 p.m., Squad 49 Groveland Group. It's open and mixed in room 21. On Sundays, still at 7 p.m., Flight Plan Squad 55. It's AA Auditorium open mixed speaker meeting. On Mondays, 7 a.m. there's a meeting, and that's in the auditorium. 12 p.m. Jitters again. 6:30 Squad NA. 7:30 Squad 75 in room 27. At 8 p.m. Squad 2 in room 21. And finally on Mondays, Squad 73 in room 28. Tuesdays, 7 a.m. meeting. That's an auditorium. Every day of the week, I believe there's a 7:30 or the 7 a.m. meeting. At 6:30, there's Squad 35. That's Squad 35, room 21. Then at 6:30, Squad 23 in room 23. Then the CMA meeting, Crystal Meth Anonymous at 7 p.m. That's Squad 67 in the auditorium. Wednesdays, bear with me, I'm almost through this. Wednesdays, 7 a.m. meeting, Alcoholics Anonymous. 12 p.m. Alcoholics Anonymous, both in the auditorium. 6 p.m. Squad 19 is the Young People's meeting. That's Narcotics Anonymous. The name of it is Sky's the Limit. It's open and mixed meeting. It's in room 28. At 6:30, we got By the Book, 4-step workshop. That is Rick and Jesse. That's in the auditorium. That's open. It's what they come in here and share about once a month, and we run the step with those guys. They're great people. Rick left for that like the world's biggest AA convention in Colorado. It goes for like 5 days. He just left this morning. And then Squad 72 at 7 p.m. and that's an open mixed meeting in room 21. Thursdays, we got a big Thursday here. We got 7 a.m. Squad 00, no opinion. Open mix, handicap accessible in the auditorium. 12 p.m. is Jitters, open share meeting in the auditorium. 6:30 is Narcotics Anonymous in the auditorium. 7 p.m. we got a Squad 67, and that's in the annex. 8 p.m. Squad 77 in the auditorium and the annex. It's a big meeting. 9:30 p.m. it's called Last Call, Squad 86, Spiritual Solution in the auditorium. Fridays, we've got 7 a.m. No Opinions. That's a daily meeting. We got 12 p.m. Jitters. We got 6:30 p.m. Narcotics Anonymous in the auditorium. 7 p.m. Squad 22. It's an open works. That matter of fact, yeah, that's a women's meeting. That's a women's meeting. So yeah, that's a good one. I've heard about it. It's 7 p.m. on Fridays. It's in room 23, and then at 7 p.m. Squad 15, room 21. 8 p.m. Squad 37, room 27. Saturdays, 9:30 a.m. Squad 54. SAA. That means I'm not sure what that. That's the name of the meeting. SAA. Sorry. And that's in room 21. Then we got Jitters at noon. At 6 p.m. we got Sober Squad. That's in room 27. 6:30 we got Narcotics Anonymous down in the annex. 8 p.m. Squad 21 open mix meeting in room 27. 8 p.m. it's a speaker meeting. This is a great meeting. It's a speaker meeting that's held in the auditorium the last Saturday of the month. It's a medallion call-up night. It's an awesome. If you've got nothing going on, or if you're looking for something different, check it out. It's at the last Saturday of the month, 8 p.m. It's a speaker meeting in the auditorium. 2218. Like, there's tons and tons of meetings here, and there's plenty of openings. There's so many more rooms. Like, if you wanted to have a meeting here, start a meeting here, you definitely can. It's the rent's not bad if you're able to get enough people here. You know, 7 Tradition, they'll work with you. They help you out when you're trying to get started. They were real big in helping out Phoenix in the beginning, and that's what 2218 is about. Like, it's about recovery. That's what this place is. It's a recovery outlet. So take advantage. Again, if you're able to donate, please follow the links on here. I will try to get that. I don't know if I won't, because I will mix it all up. So I appreciate everyone's patience with this, and I appreciate people checking in and listening to me to babbling for an hour. I just want to stress, like, you're never alone. You don't have to be alone. Please reach out if you're struggling. Like, it will get better. Just keep reaching out to people. Don't stay alone. Get to one of those 45 meetings I just read off. Do whatever you can to get outside yourself. Try to interrupt your thoughts with something different. Go for a walk. They're just do what you're able to do, not to stew in the the negativity that could be happening. Life shows up. There's no way to stop life from showing up. But today we get to accept how it shows up. We get to be there for it and head on. Like, show up, be there for others when they're struggling. The best advice I could give to anyone is, if you don't know what to do and you're struggling, go find someone else who's struggling and try to help them. Do your best. Whether you're not in the mood, whether it's just not the time, go help someone else. You'll always feel better about yourself. Give me a call if you don't. Um, I've yet to find someone who's like down in the dumps and they go help someone else who's struggling. I've yet to find answer something to the effects of that didn't work. It's always worked for me. It's worked for anyone I've talked to. Find a struggling alcoholic or addict, bring them to a meeting, watch how things turn around. Life gets to be good today. Don't, we get to grow through things. We don't have to be stuck through things. Like, we get to grow through stuff. So let's like take advantage of it. And I know that this tonight was a fluke. Both people didn't show up. Elena had the night off, and it turned out the way it did. I ended up getting started. I didn't think I'd be able to, but I also figured out a lot of stuff with this, the technological side of this, which is good for the future. So next week, same time, we will be here, started on time, and it'll be a blast. Especially now that I know how to use all these new tools and the this mixer I have. It's got these a soundboard and all this cool little stuff. So looking forward to having you guys check in next week. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna cut out. Maybe have a little music pop on. We love you all. Until next week. Thank you so much.